What you're about to hear and listen to is an exclusive radio interview done by Bob Nicholson from the law firm Beckman Lawson in Fort Wayne, Indiana, for his radio program entitled Your Business Matters that airs on Saturday mornings on WGL Radio in Fort Wayne. Also joining Bob is Susan Imler, the marketing director for Beckman Lawson. The person they're talking to, you'll recognize as Jerry Greenfield, the co-founder of Ben & Jerry's Ice Cream. And now, here's Bob.
I know you're coming to Fort Wayne for to do a lecture. Could you
let's hope it's not a lecture.
Or what would you call it? It's the lecture series.
It'll be a talk. It'll be. I'm going to talk about the history of the company and how we've tried to operate, and mostly I'm interested in sharing our experience of running a business in a different kind of way. Most people think that if you want to run a business, you have to do it in a very cutthroat, harsh way, and that if you want to be a caring business, it takes away from your ability to make money. And our experience has been completely opposite from that. But in our experience, the more caring and giving that Ben & Jerry's has been, the more successful it's been. So I just like to share that with people. Not to say it's the only way to operate a business, but I think there are a lot of people who want to integrate social values and environmental values into a business, but they feel constrained that it's going to hurt their business, and that hasn't been the case with Ben & Jerry's.
I understand what you're saying. I mean, it's in part. I think it's whether you take the short term or the long term view. Probably not unlike what you ran into when your board started telling you that you needed to watch out for the financial interest of the shareholders or whatever. But that's a very short term issue, right?
I think there are a lot of businesses that take a short term view to the detriment of the business. And I think when you're doing things that help you connect with customers, and when you're doing things that support the community, customers want to support your business in return.
Mm-hmm. And just I'm certain that a very important aspect of Ben & Jerry's, the company, is the employees, and making sure that employees are treated well and their contributions respected, and that can go a long way too, I think, to having a successful business.
Oh yeah, employees are key. I mean, it's so funny because Ben and I obviously have our names on the company, and people think Ben and I do everything, but I can guarantee you and everybody else that the success of the company has been built on the work of many, many committed and dedicated people, and we just got our names and pictures there.
Yeah. Well, although at one point you were actually doing it, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's the thing that so many would-be, I think, entrepreneurs, think in terms of, wouldn't it be great? I'm going to go sit in this office over here, and somehow or another, something's going to, materialize for me. When most successful businesses are actually created by somebody with a vision not unlike yours, who actually got out there and made it happen, whether in their garage or gas station, I guess, in this case.
Yeah, I think it was very helpful to us to start out small and to start out with very little money, because it forces you to do everything yourself, and it forces you to learn everything yourself. Mm-hmm. When something broke, you figured out how to fix it because you were the guys there. I mean, when the freezer iced over, Ben would go in there with a torch and he'd melt all the blocks of ice that were on the freezer components. I mean, who else are you going to call?
That's one of the things that we kind of talk about on this show a little. Is that when you're in business for yourself, I mean, you look behind you, there's nobody there. So
That was actually one of the really great things about having a partner and a friend doing this. To be able to share this experience with somebody else. Not just to share the work, but to share the experience. For people that have been in small businesses, you understand that there's a lot of chaos and just weird things that happen, and to be able to go through that with somebody else. There are things you could never explain to anybody what it's like, but when you go through it with somebody, it's a real bond.
Sure. Now, did you have any mentors along the way?
Not too much. We kind of figured this out as we went. At one point, we went to get some help from one of the guys at SCORE, the
Sure.
hired business guys, and they were very helpful. They were great. So I was very appreciative of the help they gave.
Huh. And do you have any particular advice that you'd offer to somebody who's thinking about starting their own business?
My advice is to do something that you're really passionate about and something that you really care about. I think if you have your own business and if it's a small business, it's typical that you'll run into difficult times or things that are tough. And I think if you're doing something that you really care about and that you really love, it will take you through those difficult times.
Sure.
Whereas if you're just doing something to make a bunch of money and it starts getting rough, you may bail. So I think do something that you care about.
Yeah, it is. It ultimately, it has to be a labor of love in some respects.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is.
Yeah.